Well, good afternoon, everyone. Who would? I may give him some money. That's why I think. Just joking. My name is Alicia Lipscomb. I'm a public affairs specialist with the Georgia Area Director's Office. We're the office in charge of all 33 Social Security offices in the state of Georgia. Currently, right now in the state of Georgia, we have 2.2 million people receive a monthly benefit from Social Security. We pay out $2.1 billion a month to residents in the state of Georgia. So Social Security is quite important to the economy when you think about our senior citizens and the disabled. We're an important safety net. So we want to make sure that we provide enough information to you to make your own personal decision on when you want to start to receive Social Security retirement benefits. Because we emphasize it over and over again, it is a personal decision. You look at your options, we assume that you've done your work, and when you're ready to approach us, you're ready to file for your benefits. Similar when you do taxes, right? You do your work, right? You file your tax return and boom, right? The same concept with Social Security. You know your own situation. You know your longevity. People view money differently. People view retirement differently. How many of you have an idea there's a set date and I'm out the door, right? And other people, I'm going to keep the next year, and the next year, and you're still working, right? So there's very varying factors that come into play when somebody chooses to start to receive a retirement benefit. We're talking about what is the right age. Everybody's age is different when they choose to start to receive benefits. We're definitely going to talk about working after retirement. What we mean is working after you start to receive a Social Security retirement benefit. Is it going to affect it, yes or no? That's a very common question we get right now. And also Medicare. It's very important to understand Medicare enrollment, because we don't want you to get in a situation where you lack health insurance because you made a choice regarding your Medicare enrollment. Then we're definitely going to talk about some wonderful tools we have available on our website for you to run your own numbers. These are personalized calculators to help you make an informed decision. Am I, A, ready to retire? B, do I have enough money to retire? It really is a numbers game, everybody. Do I have enough to maintain the current lifestyle I want to lead when I retire? First thing we want everybody to do, if you have not done this yet, is to create a My Social Security account. I already spoke to some people in the room. They've already done that, and that is wonderful. The reason why I want you to do your My Social Security account, because that is where you get your Social Security statement now. We stopped mailing it out to individuals under the age of 60 as of October of 2016. So that's why you haven't seen one in a couple years. Another reason why we want you to do the online account is that you have access to it whenever you want to. You can print it out. You can save it as a PDF. You can sit down with your spouse and compare it. You don't have to wait for it to come every year. It's always available to you at any point. But we've also added some other wonderful features on top of in the My Social Security account. It's just not about the statement. It's also available for anybody who's currently getting benefits. You can do some wonderful changes to your record, your benefits through the online account. Here are a couple of them we want to discuss. Probably the biggest one, the most popular one is, as of the end of February this year, if you are a resident of the state of Georgia, you have a Georgia driver's license or a Georgia ID. Also, if you have a South Carolina ID, they just got added to it about a month ago. You can now request a replacement Social Security card online. You don't have to visit an office. If you meet the following criteria: you're a U.S. citizen, you're age 18 or older, and there's no legal name change. Your name matches exactly what's on our records. You have a state-issued driver's license. Every state except Alabama and the South is now doing it online. Insert bad Alabama joke, but I'm not going to do it. And then you can go on there, you request the card, you get it in the same amount of mail time it would take from visiting an office. This is really important for individuals who are 18 or older, starting that first job, right? Or if you have an older loved one who needs it for programs and services, like heating and energy assistance, they always want to see that Social Security card. They've lost it, they can now go online, request it. If they meet all the criteria and the data matches, they'll mail them the card. This will save a lot of people time and also money, because a lot of people lack transportation. If you're a caregiver, you can't take off of work to take them to the office, so get them to do the online account so they can request their Social Security card that way. And it is mailed to you, traditional snail mail. You'll get it in the mail for you to use for any other programs and services you need. And always as a reminder, remember your Social Security card is not a form of identification. The whole reason of the card is to collect taxes for benefits, everybody. So you should not be carrying your Social Security card in your wallet because it's not a form of identification. You need to keep it in a safe place and only use it when you need to access it when you need to use it. Now, here's some other features that are available in the online account. You can also get a proof of income letter. You can change your address, your phone number, your direct deposit when you start to receive benefits. You can get a replacement 1099. You've lost it. It accidentally got thrown out, shredded. You can also access it online. You also can get a replacement Medicare card. You can request when you lost your Medicare card. Or if a family member who lost one, you can go online, request one, and it'll be mailed to the house, the address that's on record. And you also can print out a letter during that time while you're waiting on the card showing what the Medicare claim number is and the effective dates of the different parts of Medicare. So there's a lot of really wonderful tools available in the online account. So to access it, behind the copy of your PowerPoint is a sheet of paper. It's called a request for an activation code. I would encourage those who do not have an online account to please fill out that form today. Hand it to me at the end of the presentation or whenever before you leave. You can just put it face down on the table up front. This allows me to request an activation code for you to do the online account. I process your request. I will mail you. I will put a stamp on a letter that I will mail to you that has a special code for you just to type in. You do your username and password and you are done. You don't have to answer the 10 million security questions. Also, if you already have an online account but you forgot your password, I can also reset your password for you too. So please fill out that sheet so I'll be able to do that for you. And once you create your online account, we've created a new PIN system. So every time you log in, you're going to get a code or you're going to type in a code for you to access your online account. Since we've gone that route, you don't have to change your password every 6 months like we used to with the old way of doing it. So that's one less password you have to change, everybody. Everybody's got their rolling sticky list, right, with your passwords? So this is one you hopefully will not have to change when it comes to accessing information. So we do encourage everybody to create a My Social Security account. If you have a spouse and you want to do an online account for them, come to me after the presentation. I'll give you an extra sheet, my fax number, and you can fax it to me, and I'll also take care of them too. We're only an office of 6. I promise you I'm not losing my job of 18 years over an online account. I always tell people that. I give them that security thing. I'm not losing my job, and you know how to find me, so I promise you it's not worth it there. So your online account is your basic planning tool. Now we're going to get into the nitty-gritty to help you understand how you qualify for Social Security benefits. Remember, here at Columbia County, you pay Social Security taxes on your earnings here. So how you earn credits, I like to say points instead of credits because it seems to resonate more. So you earn points by earnings that have been taxed by Social Security. You need 40 points in order to qualify for a basic benefit from Social Security. You earn up to a maximum of 4 points per year. Once you earn more than $5,440 in 2019, you get your 4 points. It's just a threshold. Once you cross over it, we give you the 4 points. So that's why you need 40 points or 10 years of work over your lifetime to be guaranteed a benefit from Social Security. So a quick show of hands, who has worked for Columbia County for more than 10 years? You're getting money from Social Security. See how simple it is? In each one of those years, did you earn more than $5,440? You're getting money from Social Security. So that's the difference there. A lot of people want to make it a lot more complicated than it really is. Remember, it's just sort of a quiet savings program that became as a result of the Great Depression, right? The whole purpose of it was to provide a basic income for food and shelter. That was the whole point of it. It's not meant for you to have the pink Cadillac and the boat, okay? The whole point is to provide a basic income. It only replaces up to 40% of your current income. So if you don't want to maintain your current lifestyle, you have to think of what other avenues of income you can have in order to be comfortable into your retirement there. So again, 10 years of work or 40 points, you're guaranteed a benefit from Social Security. For anybody in the room who is a former military member, remember you paid Social Security taxes on your earnings too. So know we have a lot of retirees around here in this area. You pay Social Security taxes on your earnings when you served in the military too. That's a common question we get a lot. So we want to make sure you're aware of that. So now this is where everybody's different when it comes to Social Security, is how we calculate the benefit. First thing we do is step 1. We adjust changes in wage levels. What we do is we adjust it for inflation. That's that cost of living adjustment you hear about every year. Or as when I go on my senior center circuit tour, they call it, quote, the raise. They love calling it the raise. And this year in 2019 is 2.8%. That applies to people receiving benefits and also applies to individuals not receiving benefits. Because we want to make sure whenever you file for your retirement benefits, it's in the dollars of that time, not from the 70s and 80s. So that's why the cost of living adjustments occur there. Simple way to explain it, what a gallon of milk cost in 1970, we're converting it to today's dollars in 2019. That's an easy way of explaining it there. Step 2 is where everybody is different. One thing I do want to emphasize about Social Security retirement is everybody's situation is different. Everybody's numbers are different. Do not try to compare your situation to somebody else's. We're apples, oranges, kiwis, peaches, plums, whatever. We're all very different when it comes to the Social Security benefit because of step 2. We find the monthly average of your highest 35 years of work, everybody. 35, not high 3, not last 5. People love to split that. Highest 35 years of work. So what does that mean? The more you earned equals a bigger benefit. There's a direct relationship between the two. A lot of people don't realize we're actually an insurance program. We're not a 401k, we're not this little box with your name on it. So think of your taxes as insurance premiums. You pay, you maintain your coverage, right? Once you hit the 10-year mark, you're guaranteed a payout from your policy. But after that, the more you contribute equals a bigger payout from your policy is one way of thinking about it from there. So again, the more you work, the more consistent you work, and the more you earn equals a bigger benefit. There's a direct relationship between the two. Old saying, what you get in is what you put in is what you get out of it when it comes to Social Security benefits. And step 3 is this number we use to throw into your formula. But again, always remember this rule. The more you earn equals a bigger benefit. That's why I say don't compare yourself to somebody else when it comes to your benefits. Let's talk about full retirement age. This is a point where somebody qualifies for 100% of their benefit computation. And it's based on what year that you're born. As you can see in the far left column, which you'd find your year of birth. And in the middle column is the age you have to be in order to receive 100% of your benefits. You have to wait till that age in order to get 100% of your benefits. So if I'm born in 1959, as you can see, I have to be 66 and 10 months when I start my benefits at that point to receive 100% of my benefit computation. It is not 65 anymore. That change happened back in 1983, everybody, okay? And a lot of us, who do we learn about Social Security from? Our parents or grandparents, right? So they were under the old rules. They were grandfathered in. But in 1983, we made all these changes because they looked at the fact that, A, we're living longer. There's some numbers that 1 out of 5 people are going to live to their mid-90s now. Mid-90s now. The oldest woman in the United States used to live in Monroe, Georgia. She was 115, everybody. 115. So again, those are some things to think about. You may be living longer than you think, so you got to think about, will I have enough income to support me throughout my retirement? And the far right column helps you understand that anybody is still allowed to start your benefits at age 62. That's called early reduced retirement. If you take it early, you notice how much we reduce it down. So if I was born in 1943 and I chose to take my benefits at 62, they reduced 25% off, so I only receive 75% for the rest of my life. You lock yourself in a box. It does not get increased. Always remember, anytime you start your own benefit before your own full retirement age, it is a lesser amount for the rest of your life. The thinking is, you said it's good enough for you now, it's good enough for you for the rest of your life. So always remember that. Anytime before your own full retirement age, lesser amount. And it may be enough for you to support yourself, but it's basically your own situation when you make that decision there. As you can see, born 1960 or later, I would only receive 70% for the rest of my life. This is based on your own full retirement age, how much will you reduce it down if you were to start at age 62. But not everybody starts at 62, not everybody starts at full retirement age, right? There's some options in there. There's some wiggle room when it comes to benefits. So this is a chart to help you understand the impact on what age you start to receive benefits and your lifetime income from Social Security. So in this example, we're going to pretend we're all turning 66 as our full retirement age, and that at age 66, we qualify for $1,000 a month. So you notice at age 62, it's only $750, 75%. 63 is 80%. 64 is 86.6%. 65 is 93.3%, or back at 66, which is 100%. Every month actually makes a difference in the benefit amount. For example, if I waited till 62 and a half, it'd be around $775 to $780 a month. So every month actually makes a difference when you choose to start to receive your benefits, what you're going to receive from Social Security. Now, Social Security does something pretty neat. For every single month you wait after your full retirement age, that's called delayed retirement. We give you extra money for waiting. I jokingly call it Kohl's Cash That Doesn't Expire, Kroger Fuel Points, Delta Sky Miles, whatever you want to call it. It's a bonus we give to you for waiting to start to receive your benefits. A lot of individuals who are continuing to work past their full retirement age look at this option because they're still working. They may not need the money from Social Security, or they have other income in place to help them maximize their benefits up to age 70, and that's the latest point. So what we do at Social Security, for every 12 months you choose to delay your benefits, you get an extra 8% added to your benefits. So in this example here, if I waited till age 70 and my full retirement age is age 66, I get 132%. 132% in my computation there. To give you a little tip, the most we can pay out somebody at age 66 this year in 2019 is $2,681 at age 66. Does anybody know why? We have a taxable limit. We only tax to $132,900. If you ever earn over $132,900 in wages, earnings, you stop paying 6.2%. So that's why there's a max amount at age 66. Let's say I'm Bill Gates filing for Social Security. We know how much money he's earned over his lifetime, right? At 66, I'm going to get the maximum amount. But if I just delayed 1 month, what does that mean? I get extra money for waiting. So you can go beyond that limit. If you have the extra 8% or if you delay any time after full retirement age, you can go beyond that. And really, in general, the most we really ever pay out at Social Security right now, if anybody's getting benefits right now, is around $3,200 to $3,300 a month. Really the max if you had the 32% on top of that. So if somebody ever tells you they're getting $5,000 a month from Social Security, what do you know? They're not being honest. So always remind people about that. We have limits of what we can pay out when it comes to benefits. So there's a wonderful tool you can use to help you figure out these in-between scenarios. Because again, it's not just 62 on your statement, your full retirement age and age 70. There's a wonderful tool called the Retirement Estimator. And you guys have a sheet in your packet with the red stripe on top. It walks you through how to do the Retirement Estimator. It is separate from the My Social Security account. You don't have to have one in order to do this. And when we go later on to a screenshot of the webpage, our webpage at socialsecurity.gov, I'll show you where to go to click on it to use it. What it does, allows you to do estimates based on certain time periods. Maybe you're debating about starting your Social Security retirement, say in January of 2024 versus June of 2024. You can put in the time periods and it'll give you an estimate of your benefits during that time. You know you're still going to be working for the next 5 years. You're in a set salary. You can add that in and it's going to do the computation based on your highest 35 estimated years of work. This is a really good tool because people have a tendency to overestimate Social Security or underestimate Social Security. For example, this morning I was at the library on Laney Walker this morning in Augusta. I was down there. And this woman told me that her husband assumed he would get around $2,600 from Social Security. I knew it wasn't going to be the case. So I got him on the phone and I told him his number. He went, oh, it's actually half of what I thought it was going to be. So again, and he goes, well, my retirement plans have completely changed now. And that's why we want you to stay informed and stay in touch with your benefits. Don't make assumptions about it. Use the retirement estimator to help you run your numbers. Use your Social Security statement to see where you stand as of today. You cannot use this online, the retirement estimator, the online calculator, if you already are getting money from Social Security or you're already receiving Medicare, because then we show you active on our system. So we can't estimate something when somebody's active on our systems. If you leave this page for more than 20, 25 minutes, it'll knock you out for security reasons and you have to retype in all your information again. So we do that as a security parameter. The Bulldogs have a bye week this week, so there's no excuse. Almost had a heart attack on Saturday. Again, can't deal with this anymore. Can't. I've had too much heartbreak lately, can't deal with it. So what we're gonna talk about is the family. I mentioned we're in an insurance program, right? So you've got your primary beneficiary, right? But don't you have family members usually added to an insurance policy? So now we're gonna get into the family aspect of Social Security. Who else can receive benefits? If you're somebody receiving a retirement benefit or you're receiving a Social Security disability benefit, these same rules apply to you. If you have a child, you're a biological or adopted child that's under the age of 18 or up to 19 and 2 months in high school. We do not pay into college. I want to repeat that again. High school. They are eligible for an additional benefit amount. It does not affect your benefit amount. The way I explain it is sort of like a bucket of money principle. You've got your bucket, your name's on it, and it's your percentage, your maximum amount in that bucket. We set aside another bucket to the side that's 50% of your 100%, and it just sits on the side just in case to use as a backup. So if I had a biological or adopted child, I'm getting a retirement benefit now, or I'm disabled, they will receive up to 50% of my 100%. Yeah, that works. So it's a separate amount to help support the family. So if I'm getting $1,000 a month, I adopt my grandson. Once you adopt a child, they are considered your child per the Social Security Act. I'm getting $1,000 a month. My grandson the next month would start getting $500 a month. It doesn't decrease my benefit amount. So that's why we encourage individuals on your application, when you're doing it over the phone or online, you're going to see this question. If that is your situation, please put the child down, because we do not have access to vital records at all. You've got to let us know what's going on. We tell people to put all your cards out on the table, because we can't look into things if you don't tell us what is going on. And believe me, we're having people having children a lot later on in life. I met a 75-year-old not too long ago with a set of 8-year-old twins. 8-year-old twins. And I've learned now not to ask, is this your grandchild? I just say, oh, who is this? I've learned now over the years that you just never know the situation. So it's better to be safe than sorry when it comes to that. And if you have a child that is not married and disabled before the age of 22, they also may be potentially eligible for that other bucket of money. And one common example to give is you have a retiree filing an application, they come across this question. My son, Johnny, he's 32, and he has Down syndrome. As long as he is unmarried and the condition existed before the age of 22, we're going to look into these potential benefits, and those are called disabled adult child benefits, just to let you know. But again, they have to be found disabled before the age of 22. I remember one of the first claims I ever took, it was a young man who got paralyzed in an ATV accident. He was 21 in a couple months. So he met this criteria. Remember, who are the primary caretakers of disabled adults? The parents, right? So this is another thing they added to help the safety net for that disabled adult child who may not have the opportunity to go out and earn as much in the workforce. So that's why that safety net occurs with disabled adult child benefits, just to let you know. Your spouse may be potentially eligible. They have to be age 62 or older, and notice this big underline there, with little or no work history. This goes back to the old rules, way of life back in the 30s and 40s. Back then, it was usually a one-income household, right? Usually it was a man going to work every day. The spouse stayed at home. So they were dependent on the worker for their livelihood. In this day and age, we have dual-income households, right? Or you've been a single-income household raising children. That's the norm now. So spousal benefits really are disappearing based on demographics and the way things are with our economy. But we're going to still go into detail about that to help you understand. But the key part is little or no work history. They have to be dependent on the other person for their food and shelter needs. Now we're going to go into more detail about this to help you understand how we compute this. So you can help you understand, yes, I'm going to qualify for spousal benefits, or no, I'm not going to qualify for spousal benefits. The benefit is up to 50% of the worker's benefit. The most a spouse can receive is 50% of the worker's 100%. I want to emphasize that part. Because lately we've had some situations where somebody assumed, I'll wait till age 70 to get 132%. And my spouse, who doesn't have a work history, doesn't have the 40 points, they assume they're going to get 50% of 132%. The answer is no, they're not. That extra 8% I talked about only goes to the person who earned it. It does not go to the dependent. 50% of 100 is quite different than 50% of 132, right? That can throw off their retirement plans there. So remember, the most a living spouse can receive is 50% of a worker's 100%. The spouse can only get the full 50% if they are at full retirement age. So this goes back to the principle again, your age always determines what percentage you're eligible for. So I would have to be 66 this year to get 50% of 100%. If I was 62 and filing this year, I would only get 30%. So does everybody get that concept? I want to make sure you understand that any category you receive a benefit from Social Security, you start it before your own full retirement age. Remember, it's a smaller percentage. We want to emphasize that part. The worker must be receiving the benefits because I'm the person who didn't work, right? So they assume if my husband doesn't need it or my wife doesn't need it, that I don't need it. Always remember that. The worker must be getting the benefit in order for the dependent spouse to start receiving a benefit. But remember, they have to be 62 or older. Remember that. So I'll give you a crazy example. Say I'm 72 years old, married to my husband who's 58 years old. I don't have the 40 points. I have to wait till he's at least 62 and older and getting money from Social Security before I can get a spousal benefit. See how that works? So that's where it comes into play with living benefits. Everybody's still alive in these examples here, okay? But let's say I did have a work history. We're going to apply what is called the 50% rule to this, and this will help you figure out if you do or do not qualify as a married spouse when we go into this. But we have to go into our next topic here. I really want flames to show up on this screen because this is like the biggest topic we get questions about now. Benefits, or like fireworks or something, or even the Star Wars sound, the pew, 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 pew. I want that or something like that to get people's attention because we get more questions about this now than any other slide. And it is pretty to the point, but people always want to wonder about this. So I'm going to help break it down for you to help you understand this here. You may receive benefits on an ex-spouse's record, even if he or she has remarried, if you meet the following criteria. One thing I want to emphasize, just because you're married or just because you're divorced does not mean you're going to get extra money from Social Security. Remember, it goes back to the idea of being dependent on the other person. Even if you're divorced, we still have to look at that when it comes to dependency. Your marriage must have lasted 10 consecutive years of legal marriage before the marriage was dissolved. I want to emphasize that part. I can't divorce my husband for 8, remarry him for 2 to get the 10. I can't take 3 marriages that ended after 4 years and add them up to get more than 10. One person, 10 or more years of legal marriage. Remember common law? The state of Georgia stopped recognizing that in early 1997. We're going to have to look in the past to see if it's established. So that's creating an issue for some people there when it comes to that. You have to be unmarried. That's a big factor there. Because if I'm married to husband B, I'm dependent on husband B. I'm not dependent on husband A anymore, right? Because I'm divorced from him and I'm remarried. You have to be unmarried. You have to be age 62 or older. And your ex also has to be age 62 or older. Remember that example? I'm 70, married to my 58-year-old husband, right? We're still married, so I can't get anything because he's not getting anything from Social Security. I divorce him the next year. I still have to wait till he's at least 62. I didn't know the rules, and I decided to divorce him, thinking I'm going to get money. It doesn't work that way, okay? I have to be 62 or older when it comes to that. And it doesn't matter if your ex has remarried. It doesn't matter. It's about you as an individual. Are you currently unmarried? And then we're going to look at the factors that we treat married individuals the same way we treat divorced individuals when it comes to the spousal benefit computation. There's no difference there. I've had one woman ask me, should I remarry him? I'm like, well, that's your choice. I'm not going to tell you what to do. But again, it's amazing what people will ask for about $1. So you always remember that. So this is some examples to help you understand whether you do or do not qualify as a married or divorced spouse. We got Ricky. He gets $1,200 a month from Social Security. Lucy files for benefits. She is eligible for $1,000 a month. Lucy would not qualify for a spousal benefit because her 100% amount, her $1,000, is more than half of Ricky's. What's half of Ricky's? $600, right? We pay whatever is the higher benefit amount. Since 1,000 is greater than 600, that shows that Lucy would not be dependent on Ricky. Does everybody get that? So an easy way for you to figure that out with your spouse, if there's somebody who doesn't like to talk about finances, just tell them it's going to be quick, it won't take long, we need to figure this out. You're going to look at your full retirement age amounts. Do not look at your age 62 amounts. That's where people get thrown off there. You look at your 100% amounts and compare them. Throw your numbers, pretend you're Ricky and she's Lucy, whatever you got to do. And put it in and run your numbers. Simple as that. And again, in this day and age, we don't see a lot of this anymore because of earning power in the household, both parties working. Second example is where somebody does qualify as a living spouse. And I'll give you an example of divorced spouses. It's the same principle next. Laura files for benefits. She's eligible for $1,800 a month. Luke, was in a plane crash on an island, couldn't find him, so she was tired of waiting on him. Remember Luke and Laura from General Hospital, everybody? That's why I went through that. So Luke's on this island. He's been gone for a year. Laura's like, I need some money now. I can't wait on Luke. Luke was getting $600 a month. So Luke magically comes back up from the island. They found him. He got rescued by a ship. A cruise ship rescues him. And since Laura has filed an application for benefits, what does that mean? Luke may be eligible as a spouse. Remember that. Both parties have to be getting money from Social Security for that to occur. Laura's amount is $1,800 a month. Luke's is $600 a month, right? So what's half of Laura's? $900. Luke still keeps his $600 he's receiving from Social Security. We pay an additional $300 from Laura's other bucket of money to bring him up to $900, which is 50% of Laura's $1,800. Does everybody see how that works? That's why when you're looking at your stuff, your spouse may think you're a little wacky today and go, are we Luke and Laura or are we Ricky and Lucy? And that can help you figure it out. Really just plug yourself into this. Don't make it more complicated than it is. And remember, we at Social Security, when you file your claim and you list that you are currently married, we are required by law to look into this. We are. As long as you're legally married, that's all that matters. We don't care if you live with your spouse. It doesn't matter to us as long as you're legally married. Remember, it doesn't affect the other person, right? Because you're from that other bucket of money. Same rules apply as a divorced spouse. It's not going to affect your former spouse, and if your spouse has remarried, their new spouse. Because this is what we do at Social Security. Let's say, for example, I was married to husband A. After 10 years and 1 day, I divorced husband A. I decide to remarry husband B. After 10 years and 1 day, I divorced husband B. They all were dependent on me. They didn't work. They took care of the house while I was working. Now I'm married to husband C. And to qualify as a married spouse, you have to be married to the person for more than 1 year. I want to remind you of that. 1 year of consecutive marriage, then you potentially qualify as a married spouse. And so A, B, and C have their own little separate buckets of money. So we're all magically 66. I get my 100%. A and B each will get their own 50%, and husband C, after he hits 1 year of marriage, he also gets 50%. See how that works? So we don't affect each other at all. So that's why it's important, if you've had a marriage that ended in divorce that lasted more than 10 years, or you're currently married, please list that marriage down, because we can't investigate it without knowing. If you're the ex-spouse, don't worry. If it may or may, because it's not going to affect the former spouse. And if you're the new spouse, it's not going to affect you at all either, too. We try to do both sides of the coin. They're called independently entitled, not going to affect each other at all when it comes to that. For those who are divorced, I'm going to give you a quick little tip to help you know that, no way I'm getting anything as a divorced living spouse. What's the most we can pay out this year? $2,681, right? What's the most a married or divorced spouse can receive? 50% of 100%, right? Take $2,681 divided by 2. See how easy that is? Yours is more than $1,340, you're not going to qualify as a divorced spouse. Took that off the table for a lot of people wondering about that. So that's a little tip just to throw that out there to help you out. So again, are you Ricky and Lucy and Luke and Laura? Remember that. If you have any questions about that, I can answer them after the presentation too. So now we're going to talk about when somebody passes away. This is very important to understand this category of benefits. They're also known as death benefits, because the rules are a little different when it comes to that. So we had living benefits we just talked about. Now we're going to talk about when somebody passes away. As long as you have the 40 points and you have a child that's under the age of 18 or up to 19 and 2 months in high school, and you pass away, they will receive up to 75% of your benefit until they reach age 18 or 19 and 2 months if they're still in high school. So that's the rules there. The disabled adult child I mentioned earlier. Johnny with Down syndrome, while I'm alive, he was receiving 50%. Now that I've passed away, they're automatically going to convert him from 50% to 75% automatically. Because the thinking is my income's no longer there to help support the household. So we're going to increase his benefit amount to help meet the basic needs. We do that automatically in that situation there. As a widow or widower, or divorced widow or widower, the rules are a little different. And we're going to go into more detail about that. And to qualify as a widow or widower, you have to be unmarried. You can't be remarried, obviously. And you had to be married to the person for more than 9 months at the time of their passing. You have to meet a 9-month requirement. They put that rule in place. Remember those movies from the 40s or 50s where somebody's in the hospital about to die and they rush the person in to marry them? So that's why they do the 9-month rule when you think about it. 9 months of continuous marriage to the person before they passed away in order to meet that requirement. We're getting a lot of older individuals getting remarried. I've been at a couple senior centers this summer. I've seen a bachelorette party. I've seen engagement parties. And a lot of them usually are already widows or widowers. And they found each other again, usually through a support group or Facebook has been a real reason why a lot of people have found each other. So it's been interesting to hear their stories, how they've gotten back together. You just have to, if you remarry after 60, you can still keep that survivor benefit. It's a rule that was put in place. If you remarry after 60, you can still file off a former spouse who passed away. So let's go through the criteria here. At age 60, if you had a spouse that passed away, you're married to them for more than 9 months, you're eligible for 71.5% of the deceased worker's benefit. At age 62, it's 82.5% of the deceased worker's benefit. And at full retirement age, you're eligible for 100% of the deceased worker's benefit. But there's a couple dots to this, which we're going to go into more detail about that. Are we going to make it simple? No. We're going to make sure you understand this part here. If your spouse never received a benefit from Social Security and they passed away, you start with 100% benefit amount because they never drew a benefit from Social Security. Because they never tapped into their policy, so you start with a 100% bucket of money. If your spouse was on Social Security disability benefits and they passed away, you're also going to start with a 100% bucket of money. Because we have a lot of couples where one is working and one is disabled. It's a lot more common than people realize. When somebody has been found to be disabled per the Social Security Act, we consider them fully retired because they have the inability to work. Since they're considered fully retired, it doesn't matter if they're 48 or 49. They're getting their 100% at 48 or 49 versus 66. They're going to keep on getting their 100% for a very long time. Whenever they turn their full retirement age, we're going to send them a letter saying, hey, you're no longer disabled, you're now retired, and your money amount's the same. Does everybody get that? Because we had a lot of people file for disability when the economy turned down in 2008 through 2012. A lot of people were working with chronic conditions. They kept working and working. When they lost their jobs, they had no option but to come to us. So that's why we have a lot of those right now aging into 66 right now. So nothing will change with their benefit amount. They don't even have to apply for retirement benefits. It's done automatically. They'll go from a disabled person to a retired person, no change in the money amount. However, say my husband decided to start getting his benefits at age 62. 2 years later, he dies in a car accident. Because he chose to take his benefits at 62, remember that what I said earlier, it's good enough for me, it's good enough for me for the rest of my life, and also for my spouse when I pass away. The most I could ever receive from my spouse is 75%, because he chose to take his benefits early. That's something you have to think about and have that conversation with your spouse about that. If you take it early, it could impact me. And if you do take it early, do we have other income to fill in the gaps if you were to pass away before me? It's not an easy conversation, we understand that, but it's just something just to prepare yourself when it comes to that. However, this is the only category you are allowed to switch around in, okay? The thinking is you went from 2 incomes to 1, so we're gonna give the living person more flexibility in their options. That 50% rule I talked about, Ricky and Lucy, completely goes out the door when somebody has passed away. Because right now you're talking with your spouse, nobody's getting benefits, and you know right now I don't qualify as a living spouse. But what if one of you were to pass away? What are my options there? So we're gonna go into a little bit more detail to help you understand that. So let's say, for example, Ricky decides to take his benefit at age 62. So he's getting $900 a month right now at 62. A couple months later, he dies in a car accident. Lucy contacts Social Security. She is also 62. One of the first questions we always ask is, Lucy, are you currently working? Because we're going to have to look at what she's earning also when it comes to filing for any type of benefits at that age. She's 62. She says, no, I'm not working right now. I got fired again. I get in trouble all the time at work, so I don't have a job right now. So it's very Lucy, very Lucy. So the claims specialist explains to Lucy, okay, I'm looking at your numbers. I'm going to compare it to Ricky's numbers. Right now, you have this option. Want to file for benefits right now at age 62. You could technically start getting around $700 of Ricky's money. Because remember, she's 62. It's 82.5% of his 75%. That's the thing to emphasize there. So her age plays a role, and also the choice Ricky chooses to start taking his benefits also plays a role. So from age 62 all the way to age 70, she can receive around $700 a month. Then at age 70, she can switch to hers and get $1,320, 132%. Does everybody see that? So the living person can let theirs grow and grow and grow, and they can get the extra 8%. And the latest point is age 70, I promise you. We don't go beyond that, age 70. So the easiest way to help you figure this out is look at your age 70 amount, compare it to your spouse's 100% amount. So if you know your age 70 is bigger than your spouse's 100% amount, which is the most you can ever receive, you know that if you pass away first, I can take the lower benefit and let mine grow and grow and grow. Does everybody get that? We want to make sure you understand that part. However, let's say Lucy's benefit is only $300 a month right now, if she were to take it at 62. And the most she can get from Ricky is right now $700. Lucy's like, I cannot live off of $300. And she decides to take the $700. What does that mean? That's it. Because that's the highest amount at that point. She's locked into that for the rest of her life. That's what a lot of her grandparents and her parents did, because they had no choice when it came to income with that. So we want to make sure you understand that option there. But to be honest, the most common scenario we see, Ricky and Lucy, they're in their 80s, they're on the front porch. Ricky's getting $1,200, Lucy's getting $1,000. Ricky passes away. Will Lucy start getting $2,200 or $1,200 a month? $1,200. That's the most she's going to receive. Whatever's the higher benefit amount, we don't combine it. She's not going to get $2,200. So what happens? Lucy keeps her $1,000. We pay the extra $200 to equal Ricky's amount. See how that works? You don't get both. And if Lucy were to pass away first, what happens to her $1,000? It just goes away. It goes away. We're going to hold questions. So it just goes away. And so that's the thing we have to look at there. So that's why it's important to know for planning when it comes to that, because a lot of people make the misconception that they think they're going to get both. We always pay whatever's the highest amount when it comes to benefits there. And we do pay benefits to the divorced widow and widower also too. You may have not qualified while your ex was alive. You did the numbers, like the simple little test I gave you, the 1340. You knew yours is going to be higher. You're not getting a benefit from Social Security. And you hear that your ex has passed away, give us a call. I'm not kidding. Because remember, as the ex, your amount does not affect the new spouse at all. Doesn't affect it all. And you can do that same example I just gave you for Lucy and Ricky. You can do that too. I've seen a guy with 3 ex-wives on the record, and he passed away. Those women were I think all came in on the same day too. I think I remember that. So there. So that's why. So we, in that situation, same rules apply to divorced spouses as we do in married in terms of how we calculate that. So always give us a call. We always encourage you to do that for any potential benefits. Remember, you have to be unmarried. If you're a divorced spouse, remember that you have to be unmarried if your ex has passed away. And your own benefit amount, remember, we can do the calculation for you and help you figure that out. And if anybody is a survivor in the room after the presentation, if you want me to run the scenario, I can do that for you too. It won't take that long to help you figure out what your options are there too. This is something I referenced a little bit in the presentation, working while getting a benefit. Remember how I made sure the claims specialist asked Lucy, are you working? This is one of the biggest questions we get about benefits. Can I work while getting a Social Security retirement benefit? It only applies to wages, everybody, or self-employment income. We're not concerned about 401k distributions, 457 distributions, a pension from the VA. It doesn't matter to us. We'll look at W-2 earnings and self-employment income. If you have a pension when you work somewhere which they did not pay into Social Security, it may affect your benefit. And that usually happens with school teachers and some city and county local governments that don't contribute to Social Security. Remember, that doesn't apply to you here. So just want to stress that part there. So if you're under full retirement age, so that's this year, it's anybody from 62 up to the month before they turn 66. We're going to have to look at what you're earning if you, A, are drawing a monthly benefit from Social Security, you filed an application, the money's coming in, and you are working a job or you're self-employed and have a net gain from that business. This year in 2019, if you're under $17,640 gross, it will not affect your Social Security benefit at all. So if I'm 62, single, I started my Social Security because I really needed the money, and I'm only making $15,000 a year, I can work and it doesn't affect my benefits because I'm under $17,640. That is the magic number. But once I go over $17,640, they're going to start looking at what I'm earning. And the basic rule is for every $2 I go over the limit, they hold back $1. So I'll give you a simple example to help you understand that. I'm getting $1,000 a month from Social Security, and I get a job earning $18,640. So what Social Security will do is take $18,640 minus $17,640. That leaves us with $1,000, correct? We're going to divide it by 2. So Social Security will withhold $500 of my benefits because I'm working over the limit. Does everybody get that? The key part is that we don't prorate it. We take it in one fell swoop. So I'm getting $1,000 a month, right? So I will only get 11 and a half checks for the year. See how that works? So it's important to know that, because what if I'm going to make $87,640? What do you think that's going to mean? 0 checks for the entire year, everybody. Anytime you get in the $30,000 to $40,000 range, you're basically going to lose more than half of your checks for the year, just based on basic simple math here and averages. So you've got to look at it. Was it really worth for me to file at 62 or earlier? Because when did you technically file it? What percentage did you lock yourself in? Always remember that. It's not going to change. because it's a technicality. When did you file the application? We're going to give you some money back for the months you didn't receive a benefit, but you're never going to be at a full 100% because you chose to take it early. So always remember that always is a factor there. But the best news about this, the month you turn your full retirement age, you can make as much as you want. We don't care at Social Security. So if my full retirement age is 66, I'm still working at Columbia County, I could technically file for my benefits, get 100%, and keep on working. And we automatically take your highest 35 years of work. So we're automatically going to redo your computation every year for you because it's your highest 35 years of work. So you do have that option if you choose to start your benefits. If you don't want your wages to affect you, you just have to be your full retirement age or older and will not affect it. How many of you guys in the room thought it was still 70? A lot of people did because that's what their parents told them. They'll drill it in your head. It's still 70. Nope. That changed back in 2001, everybody. So again, it's full retirement age and older, you can keep on working and get your benefits there. We'll have a lot of people who retire, say, at 65, take a year off, and then go back to work. They do that, or they find that second career or third career. I've met some people on their fourth career. You never know. So that's why you have that freedom once you turn your full retirement age, not to worry about how any earnings will affect your benefits. It will not be reduced down at all. But always remember, before full retirement age, if you're over the limit, it's going to affect you. That's the key part. If you're under, we have no problem with that. But I gave you a green sheet in your package. It's about taxation of benefits. We want to make sure that you are aware of this. We are not the IRS, so we cannot tell you tax advice, but we want you to be informed of this. Social Security sends you a 1099 once you start to receive benefits. That is for your taxes. And it could be considered countable income per IRS. So we want you to be aware of this when you're doing your tax planning as you move into retirement. A lot of people seem to forget about that component because when you're working, you had some way of automatically at least withholding money for your federal and state taxes. But once you're retired, you have to really think about your tax planning strategy. We do not automatically withhold federal taxes from Social Security. You have to request it from us. There's a little good worksheet at the bottom of that sheet I reference. It's IRS publication 915. If you go to irs.gov, you pull up the webpage, type in 915 in the search engine, it'll pull it right up for you. It's a little worksheet. So you can plug in what your expected income will be from your distributions, your wages, or your Social Security benefits to help you figure that out. And if you do need federal tax withholding from your Social Security benefits, you can let us know on your application. You just put in the remarks section, I want 7, 10, 15, or 20% withheld or a flat rate per month withheld, and we can do it for you that way. It's irs.gov. It's on the bottom of the green sheet there, irs.gov. Remember, all federal websites are always .gov, but you can do that. So IRS publication 915, and that will help you out there to help you plan for retirement there. Believe me, I encounter a lot of people that think once they turn a certain age, they never have to pay taxes again. And I just sort of stare at them blankly because I don't know what to say. Because they get it confused with, exemptions for their home, paying, school taxes and so forth, and that's where they get it confused. We don't want you to be taken back when you file your first tax return as a retiree and everything's coming in and nothing's going out. Believe me, by the end of February, our withholding requests are just massive because people didn't realize the impact it would have when starting to receive Social Security. Now let's talk about the application process. The earliest point we want you to file for Social Security retirement is 3 months before the month you want to start. Don't do it any time earlier, just 3 months before the month you want to start. Because things can change, right? So 3 months before the month you want to start is the earliest point. We do encourage you to file your claim online. We process our internet claims within 3 to 5 business days, everybody. That's how quickly they do that. You have an appointment, you can still do it over the phone. You physically do not have to visit an office to file a claim. We basically read you a statement, and this is an abbreviated version. We hope you're telling the truth. If not, you'll be prosecuted. That's the quick abbreviated version of that long script we read. That's one thing. People always feel they have to have a face-to-face interaction. Actually, you don't. We can't tell you what to do, right? We don't know how you view money. We don't know that you have it in your head that you're going to pass away at age 72. We don't know that. We assume you did your work and you're ready to file for your benefits. If you have a question about something, we'll answer it, but it's really up to you when you choose to approach us and start the process. If you visit any of our offices, please have an appointment before you visit if you want to file for your benefits. We do not make appointments for estimates. everybody. You've got the tools you can use. You got your retirement estimator. You got your statement. Those numbers are basically going to match anything we're going to give you over the phone or in the office. Very close to it. So why not save yourself a trip or spend time on the phone? Just log into your account and run your estimator to help you out. If you do it at the office, please have an appointment, because again, it's first come, first serve if you come off the street. And remember, our Augusta office is the only one that services this part of the state. The closest office to Augusta is Covington and Statesboro, just to let you know. If you live on the South Carolina side, Aiken services that side of the state, but it's based on your zip codes, just to let you know. But you can visit any of our offices. Say you're on a cruise, you pull into Port Canaveral, you're like, you know what? I think I'm gonna retire today. I'm not kidding. You can walk into that office there and we'll take care of you. But please follow your notice process so Miss Elizabeth does not get upset. Please follow that process when you do that when it comes to benefits. And just as a heads up, when you do an internet claim, it's a very simple internet claim for yourself. We transfer a lot of our internet claims from Georgia automatically to a special unit, because we're federal, remember, it goes anywhere in the country, and they're based in Albuquerque, New Mexico. If you get a call from Albuquerque, New Mexico, it's legitimate, I promise. And a lot of people, they get scared about that. Remind them we're federal. We can move anything electronically to help out. I mean, when there's a disaster, for example, with Harvey and Irma, that whole mess, Maria, that happened, we helped South Florida out for months doing claims for them. We'll take care of things. So remember, we're federal, we'll go anywhere. If you decide to live abroad, you can receive your benefits abroad. If you have any questions about benefits, you need assistance with an issue, you can visit any consulate or embassy, and they can help you with Social Security benefits also too, just to let you know. So here's our website again. Here's our main page. As you can see, the calculator on the, it's the third one from the left. That's the retirement estimator. That's the tool I talked about that has the red sheet, a red stripe on top of the sheet. You click on that, you run your numbers. You click on the retirement tile. We have a great retirement planner. It walks you step by step through the same things we just talked about, and it helps you think about it in a streamlined fashion. We also have our FAQs, which is a really great tool, because in the end of October, we're going to be releasing our numbers for the next year, for 2020, how much you can earn while getting a benefit. It always goes up every year, just to let you know. Maybe you're debating about starting your benefits at 62 and going part-time. It can help you figure out that. So use the FAQs. It's a wonderful, simple tool. You just type in your question. You don't have to search through tons and tons of questions to find something that meets it. And we have the My Social Security account login is the far left circle there. Click on that to access your online account. So you've gone through the application process. You're ready to go. Now you want to know what days that money can start showing up in that bank account, right? So we're going to talk about this to help you understand this here. There are no partial month benefits. You must be that age on the first day of the month, or if you're starting your benefits at 62, you must be born on the first or second day of the month. So I'm going to go through an example to help you understand this. Let's pretend we're all going to start our benefits. We're all turning 64 on June 15th. That's when we want to start to receive our benefits. Are we technically 64 on June 1st? No. So the first month, we're technically 64. The first day of the month is July, right? There's a U.S. Treasury Department rule. You must live the entire month to receive the benefit. So to make sure you live the entire month, we're not going to get our first payment until August. See how that works? So that's why people read the first part of the letter, call us up, wondering where their money is, and then read the rest of the sentence. That usually happens commonly, okay? Because you got to live the entire month to receive the benefit the next month. Is anybody born the first day of the month in the room? Oh, good, finally. Because the last 4 speeches have had no one. Then your benefits start the next month. You don't have to wait. So you get to take them all out to lunch. So it works out really well with that. Okay. And also remember, if you wait till full retirement age, we'll start at the next month because you chose to wait. Remember that. If you start at full retirement age, we're always so much kinder to people who wait till full retirement age. You get to start the next month. You don't have to do the wait there. So those are just some things just to keep in mind. That's why some people could say, why did you get it 2 months? And why did mine show up next month? Remember, everybody's situation is different when it starts to receive benefits. The day you start receiving your benefits is dependent on what day of the month you're born on, everybody. A lot of us know about Social Security from the 3rd day of the month, right? That's why all the grandmas used to line up at the mailbox on the 3rd day of the month. My grandmother used to go cash her Social Security check and get her hair washed and set at the hair shack It was a place in Savannah behind this lady's house. It's called the Hair Shack. Third day of the month, we knew where to find her. There was always a phone by the hair dryer, so we would call up and talk to her when her hair was getting set. We knew where she was at. So how we pay you now is based on what day of the month you're born on. If you're born between the 1st and the 10th, it comes on the second Wednesday of the month. 11th through 20th is third Wednesday of the month. 21st through the end of the month, it is the fourth Wednesday of the month. It's very different. You got to get used to a different way of handling your finances once you retire, right? Because when you're paid, you're used to something coming at a set schedule. This is a little different, so you need to know that for your purposes. So just be aware that everybody's date could be different. Remember, it is a time of the month, not a date. When we have this 5-week Wednesdays, it throws off the next week, and people start thinking their bank account got broken into. We get calls about that. We always remind them. It happens at least twice a year where it gets thrown off. So it's a time of the month. And we have a calendar on our website if anybody needs, a family member needs assistance in remembering that. But if they still are getting it on the third day of the month, it's staying the same. Nothing is changing for them. Is anybody newer to benefits? You're paid based on what day of the month you're born on. Now we're going to finish up with Medicare here. Everybody should have a purple sheet in your packet there. That is our Medicare 101 sheet. It basically, I can't speak today. It condenses everything that we're going to talk about on these Medicare slides, the purple sheet there. So a lot of people know as Medicare as health insurance for the elderly or the disabled. One simple way to help you understand what Medicare looks like or what the card looks like, it's the red, white, and blue card, everybody. Where Medicare is the red, white, and blue card. You paid taxes for it through your work years. You pay 1.45% every pay period toward Medicare. So that's those funds that go into the Medicare trust fund for that. Medicaid only comes from the state that you live in. It's health insurance for the elderly, disabled, or children with low income. So it's state-based is Medicaid. Medicare is all 50 states, is the same program, all 50 states and U.S. territories is Medicare, the red, white, and blue card. Most people associate Medicare with being elderly. So it's 65 or older. 65 is the earliest age anybody can start to receive Medicare. You also can be eligible for Medicare after you get 24 checks from Social Security for disability benefits. If you have a positive diagnosis of ALS, you also can start Medicare the next month immediately after your diagnosis. Also, if you're undergoing dialysis, you have end-stage renal disease, or you had a kidney transplant, you also can receive Medicare. We have a lot of people still working. They work somewhere, and they have the Medicare to help them cover their dialysis costs. It's a lot more common than you think. And think about how many dialysis centers are now popping up on corners. It's pretty crazy. I'll go down a block in Atlanta and I'll see 5 or 6 down a 3 or 4 mile stretch because the need for dialysis is great. So these are the different parts of Medicare. One thing I want to preface, we at Social Security do not administer Medicare. We just handle the enrollment because we're the proof that you paid the taxes through your wages. Also, we're a public face that you can come to do your enrollment. Medicare doesn't have local offices you can pop into like Social Security. So we handle the enrollment into Medicare. So these are the different parts of Medicare. We always give the general information to help people just understand the basics of Medicare. Medicare Part A, that's hospital insurance. That applies when you are admitted into a hospital. You are admitted, not observation. That's one thing I've heard Medicare really preach lately. And you're admitted overnight into a hospital, not observation. Medicare Part A, you pay $0 a month for Medicare Part A at the month you turn 65. There's no premium tied to it because you pay those taxes of 1.45%. There's still no monthly premium, but there's still some co-pays and deductibles that have to be met, which are listed on the front page of the purple sheet there. Medicare is not free, everybody. You know, you hear people say it's free. It's not. There's still some costs that you have to meet on your end. It's just like regular health insurance, everybody. Medicare Part B is medical insurance, doctor's visits, tests, exams, durable medical equipment, which is like scooters, crutches, canes. That's what Medicare Part B covers. There is a monthly premium tied to that. This year in 2019, it is $135.50 a month if you're enrolled into Medicare Part B. So it's $135.50 a month. Medicare Part B covers 80%. You are responsible for 20%. That's why if you're ever home on a weekday, how many Medicare health plan commercials do you see? And if anybody's turning 65 this year, your mailbox has already started to blow up by now with every insurer, everybody sending you everything there. That's why those plans exist, to help cover those 20%, the 20% of costs. Because original Medicare, which is known as Parts A and Part B, do not cover vision, do not cover dental, do not cover long-term care. So that's why those other plans exist, to help cover that 20%. And they're known as Medicare Advantage plans, Medigap plans. They're known as Part C plans. They help fill in that 20% gap. There's a wonderful resource you have in this service area, and it's throughout the state, and every state has this group. It's called a state health insurance program. And in this area, it's called Georgia Cares. It's throughout the state. And you guys have actually a person who handles Columbia County, Richmond County, and they're actually based at the Senior Area Agency on Aging on Walton Way. And they visit all the locations. They're at the Kroc Center once a month, where you can go in and sit down with somebody, and they can help you shop for a plan to help cover that 20%. It is a free service. They ask you to have an appointment first. You go to mygeorgiacares.org. These are trained Medicare counselors. They do not sell insurance. Their goal is to talk to you about your options. They plug it in a health plan finder, and they give you your top 3 options. So if you have a family member right now who's complaining about the prescription and drug costs, that's right now. Open enrollment to switch your plan for the next year begins on October 15th. Go ahead and set up an appointment with them now so they can go ahead and do the shopping. You're going to need a list of your medications, your family members' medications, the name and the dosage, what pharmacy they prefer, and they'll sit there, plug it in, and look at your options. Hey, you want a free gym membership? This plan includes this. You need dental, you need vision, this plan covers this here. So they can do all that to help you customize a plan that meets your needs and also give you the cost up front. They don't sell you anything. Please take advantage of them. They're a trusted source. Their goal is not to sell you anything. They just want to make sure they meet your needs. So please take advantage of them. I find they are the best in talking with people because their goal is not to sell you something for their own gain. And every state has one. So if you have a family member who lives in another state, type in SHIP Medicare and then the state's name, and I'll pull it up. I just pulled it up for somebody this morning. In Alabama, it's called Alabama Age Line. That's what they call it over there. We're fancier. We call it Georgia Cares here. In Florida, they call it Shine, everybody. So everybody's got a different name, but it's the same program to assist people with issues with Medicare. And the prescription drug plans, some people are healthy and fine. They don't want a Part C plan, but you still need a prescription drug plan. And Georgia Cares can help you shop for a prescription drug plan. The average premium for that is $41 a month right now. You have your Medicare Part B, and you can just have a prescription drug plan, or you can have a Medicare Part C plan where they throw in the prescription coverage with it. So that can help you out there. And if anybody's interested in learning about Medicare and the coverage, if you go to medicare.gov, their website, every year they publish the Medicare New booklet, and it really breaks everything down in a simple manner to understand what Medicare does cover, doesn't cover, and when you need authorizations. It's a really good booklet, Medicare New. It comes out every year. Let's talk about the enrollment process. This is what Social Security gets involved in. If you decide to get your money from Social Security before the age of 65, you're getting the money from us. We're going to assume you're retired. So we're going to automatically start your Medicare the month you turn 65. So on your purple sheet on your front page, this is scenario A. So if you know you're going to start your money before 65, the Medicare enrollment is automatic started. You don't have to do anything else. What will happen is that Medicare will mail you the Medicare New booklet 3 months before you turn 65 and your Medicare card, the red, white, and blue card. Then about 2 months before you turn 65, Social Security will mail you a letter saying, hey, the month you turn 65, we're going to start taking out, say, for example, this year, $135.50 a month for your Medicare Part B premium. We always send you a letter anytime we increase or decrease your benefit amount. So we're required by law to send you that letter. So you know that's going to occur there. No action necessary. It's a seamless process. The only thing you need to do is research if you need another plan to help cover that 20% in your prescription drugs. Now let's talk about scenario B. We're starting to see scenario B a lot more now. If you're still working at 65 and you have health insurance from your current employer, that's a key part, not retiree coverage and not TRICARE. You can have the right to say no to the Medicare Part B. Is anybody on TRICARE in the room? We're going to be on TRICARE. Okay, with TRICARE, you have to take the Medicare at 65 if you're not working. And they make it very clear, but a lot of people will still say no to it, and they will drop them from TRICARE in a heartbeat. So we want to make sure people are aware of that. They do a really good job of communicating that. TRICARE is health insurance for military retirees, just to let anybody know in the room there. They're a lot better about it, but we have a lot of people who say no to it. They'd rather go to the VA. But then they're waiting at the VA versus having the health insurance to go anywhere else that accepts it there. So if you know you're somebody who's still working at 65 and you are covered by health insurance from your current employer, or your spouse is working and you're covered under their health insurance, you have the option to apply for Medicare Part A only and say no to the B. Remember, the A is free, $0 a month, right? And a lot of people like to have a backup if they're going to be hospitalized. And then you say no to the B because you're still currently working, your spouse is working, you're covered under their health insurance. This is the only time you can say no to the Medicare Part B is because somebody's actively working and the health insurance coverage is through that. And they don't want you paying for two forms of health insurance. So you'll keep your employer's health insurance, you keep on trucking, and you say no to the Medicare Part B. Since you guys don't have a high deductible HSA, we don't have to worry about that, thank goodness. So whenever the person who has the health insurance separates from their job, whenever they're 65 or older or their spouse is 65 and older, you have an 8-month window from the day they separate to say, hey, I want that Medicare Part B. And you come to Social Security to do that. You don't go to Medicare to do that, remember, because we handle enrollment. So what we tell people, I'll give you an example. I am 69 years old. I'm still working here at Columbia County. I finally decided to get out the door. They're like, Alicia, get out of here now. We need you gone. So I'm out the door. So 2 months before they boot me, I know my time is coming to an end, I will contact Social Security. We can email you 2 forms. One form is for benefits here to fill out to say, yes, Alicia worked here from this point to this point, and this is her day of retirement. You have to prove to us you had coverage through your employer from the point you turn 65 all the way to your after you separate, up to that point of separation. So we have to have proof from your employer that, yes, you worked here from 65 all the way to 68 or 69. There's another form you're going to fill out saying, yes, I want my Medicare Part B. So those are 2 forms you have to submit to us. And let's say my husband is 72. He said no to the Medicare for many years because he was covered under my health insurance because I was working. I also need to get a set of forms for him also too. See how that works? Because that's where the confusion happens right there. We ask you to do it 2 months before you separate. The reason why is the month we get it, we're going to verify everything. We're going to put it on our system so it shows up. So if I separate April 30th, we really want to make sure they have my information no later than the middle of March. So by May 1st, I'm shown that I have, bless you, that I have Medicare Part B. Because you can't get a Medicare health plan unless you have A and B. Does everybody get that? So you want to make sure you got all your ducks in a row. So 2 months before you separate, if you're going to leave after 65, you got to get that to us when it comes to that. And if you fail to do it with the 8-month window, this is the bad part here. Say I decide to travel the world for a year. I leave here at 68. I travel the world for a year, and I forget to do my Medicare Part B. I didn't get the right forms to Social Security. I come back to Social Security. Social Security explained to me, well, you didn't do it within 8 months of leaving your job. People, that's 8 months. It's more than half a year. We always have to remind people about that. They're going to tell me, well, you didn't do what you're supposed to do. So the earliest point you can talk to us is in January. And because you didn't do it when you're supposed to, your coverage will not begin until July. And on top of that, you have a 10% penalty of the Medicare Part B premium for the rest of your life. So that's an extra $13.50 a month, people. So that's why your goal is to avoid the penalty. Remember that. And it's simple. Just follow the scenarios. Are you A, B? It's not, people want to make it a lot more complicated. A and B. And this is the one that we're seeing more often. Scenario C. I stopped working at Columbia County at 64. But I don't want to start my Social Security benefits till 66. So am I getting money from Social Security at 65? No. Am I actively working and have health insurance through my active employment? No. So if I'm not working at 65, not covered under spouse's employer health insurance, and I'm waiting to start my money after 65, I'm going to contact Social Security 3 months before 65 and do a Medicare-only application. So you can choose to take the health insurance separate from the money. You can do that. You go online on our website at socialsecurity.gov, do a Medicare-only application. You're going to sign up for parts A and B, because am I working? No, so I have to take the B, right? Then what will happen is Medicare will send me a bill, and Medicare, you'll pay Medicare directly during that time until you start your money from Social Security. When you start your money from Social Security, then we'll start taking the monthly premium directly out of it. See how that works? So basically, on your purple sheet, are you A, B, or C? That's the way we break it down. The hard part is that you don't know what you're going to be doing at 65 yet, right? That's the hard part. You don't know where you're going to be at. But we want to give you the framework to help you understand, because the Medicare information inundates people. It is. I've been at a couple of senior centers where they brought in what comes in their mailbox from a week to recycling, and it's like this thick sometimes. So we just want you to be aware of that, and that's why go to a trusted source. Contact us if you need to understand enrollment. You need to understand extra coverage. Remember, go to Medicare.gov or contact Georgia Cares, and they can assist you to understand that when it comes to the benefits there. This is the last thing we're going to talk about. Then we're going to open it up for questions next. And if anybody has any personal questions, I'll be glad to speak with you one-on-one. We just want you to be aware of this. This only affects 2 to 3% of our beneficiaries, but we do have individuals who do pay a higher Medicare Part B premium based on their income. And it's their modified adjusted gross income reported by IRS. So what we do is we look at the tax year 2 years prior to when the year you become eligible for Medicare. When we first talk to you, we're going to say, hey, it's $135.50 this year. Then once you become enrolled into Medicare, there's a data match that occurs between Social Security and IRS. And they didn't know that back in 2017, I won the lottery, okay? And my modified adjusted gross income was $1 million that year. That is not considered a life-changing event per our rules, okay? I know it's life-changing, but not per our rules. What's life-changing to us is retirement, death of a spouse, divorce. Those are the basic ones that we look at as a life-changing event. If it's a life-changing event, I can contact Social Security and say, hey, in 2018, I made a lot less and we can make an adjustment. But say it's $1 million. This year in 2019, if my husband's also on Medicare and I'm on Medicare and we file joint, we will each pay $460.50 a month for our Medicare Part B, and also an additional $77.40 a month for our drug plans, just to give you an example there. But again, we have the brackets there. Majority of people are just the normal rate of $135.50 there, majority of individuals. And they passed this, it was a law from the 90s, but it took a long time for it to come to fruition, and it finally came through in 2006 because they were doing all the regulations with this. And if you're looking this up, it's called IRMMA. If you want to look that up, we call it IRMA. We're like, oh, that mean woman when she first came out, because we got thrown off guard because we've never been involved in anything like this at all at Social Security until that rule was passed. It's called the Income-Related Medicare Modernization Act is the fancy term for it. So we just want you to be aware of this, that some people may get hit by this. And remember, if you were working in 2017, but you retired in 2018, you can make the changes there and report it to us. And we go by your allegation. But if your allegation is considerably lower than your actual tax return, you may end up owing us money. So be as good as possible, as close as possible to your estimate before you call us up to make any changes there. And this is what a Medicare card looks like. We want to make sure you know what it looks like. One thing we do remind individuals, we're helping Medicare out with this. If you have an older loved one, double check to see if they have the new Medicare card. The old Medicare cards contain a Social Security number. All the new ones do not contain a Social Security number. It's a set of 11 letters and numbers. So make sure they have the new one. If they have the old one and the new one, make sure they shred the old one. A lot of people want to hold on to things for so long. I've seen some people where they have their expired license, the recent one. I'm like, oh, you just need the current one. But people won't do that. Sometimes they'll hoard onto it and hold on to it. Because everybody in Georgia should have gotten theirs by October of last year. Nationwide, everybody should have theirs by December. And if they haven't received the new Medicare card, that means their mailing address with Social Security is incorrect, or they threw it away because they thought it was fake. That happened a lot. So make sure you double check. And if they've lost their Medicare card, remember you can go through the online account, sit down with them, get them to create an online account and request it there. Or you can call Social Security and we can do the card and mail it out to the address on record. But double check that mailing address through the online account. Because a lot of people get benefits direct deposit, right? I've seen people move all over the place. But as long as they get their money, it doesn't matter. So always make sure you double check that mailing address with us. And say if we send you something and it comes back returned, then we contact the post office to ask where you live. And they're like, we don't know where you're at. We'll stop your benefits. We will suspend them because we don't know where you're at. We don't know if you've passed away. We don't know if you're incapacitated and somebody could be taking your money. We don't know. So those are the few situations that will stop somebody's benefit. The reason why I'm mentioning that, how many of you have received the horrible Social Security phone call, the scam call? I get it 3 times a day. You got one? Yeah, I mean, it's funny. You'll sit there and look at it. These are people pretending to be Social Security employees. They're claiming that we have suspended your number, and to get your number reinstated, you have to pay us back so much in money, or you have to pay us back in gift cards. People have fallen for that. I'm not kidding. People have fallen for that. They will do that. They prey on the elderly and the disabled because they know they're at home during the day. That's the number one thing. So our best advice, hang up. Do not engage in a conversation with them. Hang up. And if anybody wants a handout about that to distribute at church or any community organizations or law enforcement, I've got a handout you can give out to everybody, but just hang up. That's the easiest thing to do. They will blow your phone up like nobody's business. They'll threaten you. Remember, we're not law enforcement. We can't put you in jail. And we always send you a letter if you owe us money anyhow. Legally, we have to send you a letter. So again, if you're not sure about it, hang up. The thing they're doing now is when they call and leave a message, they'll leave the actual number of your servicing Social Security office. So when you call the number they give you, you're like, oh, I'm getting the Augusta office. So that's why people think they're legitimate. Or when they call, what they're doing is called spoofing. They take the number they're calling from and they show it as our 1-800 number. Remember, that's the number for you to call us on. We never call you off of that number. That's a little tip there. So if you see 1-800-772-1213, we never call you from that number. Just for you to call us. That's a good little reminder there about that there. Here's Medicare's website, medicare.gov. You want to read up on what's covered and what's not covered. And there we go. Well, I thank you guys so much for your time. I really appreciate it. We can do, if anybody needs to leave, that's no problem. If you have your sheet, you can put it face down by the pile here if you need to leave. But we'll open it up for Q&A if anybody's got any questions. Yes, sir. Okay, he asked a very good question. What if you start your benefits early, then you realize, oh, I don't need it or I don't want it in that scenario? You're allowed to withdraw your application one time within 12 months of filing your application. One time, one get out of jail card free is the way I explain it. Within 12 months of filing your application, and you have to repay us back in one lump sum whatever you receive from us. We don't charge interest. We don't charge interest, everybody. And that happens a lot with people who filed and they were still working and they didn't understand the work rules. And they filed 3 months before and they got the letter saying you're going to get 0 for the year because you're going to keep on working. They're like, oh no, what did I do? You can fill out a withdrawal form, which is an SSA 521, and you can repay us back in one lump sum whatever you received, if you got anything from us. So you have that option to do that, but it has to be within 12 months of filing your application. Yes, sir.
My wife and I are.
Mm-hmm. He asked a question. Him and his wife are very close in age. When we file for Medicare, is it individually? The answer is yes, because it's based on you as an individual. You have to be 65, even if you're close in age. And remember, Medicare is for the individual. It's not like a family plan. It's you as an individual there. It's a very good question. We had a question in the back? Yes, ma'am. Okay, she asked a question, that example gave a Ricky and Lucy, 1,200, 1,000. Ricky passes away, she gets 1,200, right? The death benefit is only $255. That's the lump sum death payment. That's all she'll get. Additional. So she gets extra 200 per month. We give them what is called a one-time lump sum death payment of $255 to help cover funeral expenses. And that's it. Her extra benefit is the $200. Yes, ma'am. We got another, yes, ma'am. Mm-hmm. 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 No, they're not. She asked a very good question. Her husband started his Medicare at 65. He wasn't getting any money from us. This is a good real life scenario here. So he said, I'm going to take the Medicare Part A only because I have health insurance through my spouse's work. Because he said he wants the Part A only. He's about to turn 66. He's going to say, I just want the money. They will not automatically enroll him to Medicare Part B. He can say, I want to still refuse the Part B when he files for the money because he has health insurance through you. They will, on the application, and they'll tell him, they will. You have to say, I refuse it. Yes, online or on the phone with us. They'll do that. We will not automatically enroll him because we have to have proof because he refused it earlier. So they'll do that. That's a good real life scenario there where somebody said, I just want the health insurance and I want the money later on. That's a good real life example. Yes, Ms. Elizabeth. Mm-hmm. And that's the thing, always check with your benefits team here because it's based on your employer's decision whether you have to take the Part B or you can stay on because you're still working the health insurance. We always encourage you to speak to your benefits team here. They know your coverage. We do not know your coverage. All we can tell you is when you have your option to enroll into the Medicare Part B. There. Yes, ma'am. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Actually, I hate to use this word, it sort of opens up your scenarios, your options there. Your benefits are still your benefits in that scenario. She brought up the point, say she's starting her benefits at 66, so you're gonna start yours at 66, and he's younger than her and passes away. What we're gonna look at is, since you're already getting money, can you do anything additional from him, because he passed away? So if his amount is more than, his 100%, if he's not getting the money, is more than your 100%, we'll pay the additional money. If it's less, then nothing. You're just gonna keep on getting your own benefits there. That's a good question to ask. It's not an easy question to ask, but you're looking at circumstances. When there's age differences, that always comes into play. My parents are 14 years apart, everybody. So there's all these crazy scenarios. But my dad decided to take it at 62 because he was one of those, I wanna get one check before I die. And he's about to be 77, okay? So that's why that scenario there, but that's a good question to ask. What happens? Because I need to plan for that just in case when there's an age disparity, any differences there. Yes, ma'am. Actually, from what I understand, TRICARE isn't secondary. They don't coordinate from what I understand. So that's something you have to check with TRICARE. I'm not sure. That's the way Medicare explains it, but maybe their terminology may be different from what TRICARE calls it. But TRICARE has a lot of good reps that cover the Southeast that can answer that question for you. So go to the TRICARE website and they can talk about how the benefits work together. From what I understand, my dad's a TRICARE person. He just shows both cards. Wherever he goes, just shows both cards, and then they work with that there. Oh, yeah, I'll get you an extra sheet. Just grab one out of the packet there. She was asking if anybody, and if anybody needs an extra sheet, I can give you the fax number. If anybody wants to do an extra sheet for their spouse. My fax number is 404-832-8198, especially if you don't have your driver's license with you. I know us ladies love to put it in the trunk of our car. So, so my fax number is 404-832-8198. And if anybody needs extra sheets, I'll give them out to you, and you can fax that over to me. I will be in the office tomorrow, so I can take care of that for you. Does anybody else have any other questions here? Okay, she wants me to repeat the fax number again. You're welcome. It's 404-832-8198. Yeah. Now I can grab you an extra one if anybody needs that there. Does anybody else have any other questions? Yes, ma'am. It includes your spouses. It could be you or your spouses. Uh-huh. That's different. So at 65, you have to take the Medicare. Well, technically you don't. As federal employees, we don't require people to take the health insurance. But they tell you now, you need to look at your costs. Because then they can take you from the federal retiree plan, the FEHB retiree plan, they can convert that to a Medicare Advantage plan and may end up saving you money. So it's still federal, but you can still do that and have the Medicare and combine. I would tell him to look at the numbers first to see if it's worth for you to switching to Medicare. Yeah, that's a common scenario we have remember, retiree coverage does not mean that you can say no to the Medicare. And that's why we always tell you, go to whoever your provider is. For example, the federal government on that situation. We're a little funky when it comes to that. We're very funky when it comes to that. It's a good question to ask there. Okay, well, again, I thank you guys so much for your time. If you have any personal questions, I'll be glad to talk with you. Thank you. You're welcome.
That's a lot of talking.
Oh, yes, ma'am.